Wilcox before. You've heard, well, just recently, and we'll talk about this later, when we were talking about people crazy on the roads. Played a little bit of Blow 'Em Away one day. Boob Job has been known to surface on the show. You going to play this old car today?
I am.
That's awesome.
And I think we started out many years ago with the Eastern Appalachian Roadside
Modern Art. I think that was, I think you're right. I think that's the very first one. And, of course, and I guess I'm telegraphing the whole hour, but it's okay because it's stuff that we love so much. A big part, we close our show every Friday, play a Neil Young tune, except twice a year we don't. Twice a year we do a show, we talk with a guy that we stumbled into years ago named Gunnar Gunnell, and he's a classic car genius, and he owns a bunch of classic cars, and he has put out like 100 books on the classic cars, and he can tell you what it's worth, where to get it, anything. Mm-hmm. And so twice a year in the spring and fall we talk with Gunnar. All morning long we take calls, have a blast talking about the cars, and on those 2 days we don't close with the Neil Young, but it's a real treat for Mark and I because we close with Rusty Old American Dream on those days. And so maybe we'll do that today if you're up for that. How's that sound? What you been up to? You traveling around a lot?
The usual. I like to be out about 10 days a month. It gives me a life worth singing about. And I make a lap around the country a couple times a year, but it's usually just short trips, If it's East Coast, it's just long weekends, and if it's West Coast, I'll do one long 10-day trip and then be home the rest of the month. So.
And so 10 days a month, and so that's enough to, you say, have a life worth singing about. So let's get out there, sing about it, and support your life, but also not be one of these enslaved on the roads. I mean, you don't want to go out there and play every Indian casino in North America.
And mostly I don't want to just have songs about hotel rooms and buses and,
you want some real life in there.
Life. Yeah.
And you're in Asheville.
Yeah.
But where are you from originally?
Well, it's a deep, dark secret that I don't like to admit, but I'm from Ohio, but, I go better.
Ohio?
Yeah, it's a problem. But I got here as soon as I could.
Mark's from Ohio. I lived in Columbus a couple of years. Where in Ohio?
Well, east of Cleveland, Mentor, Ohio.
You up with that, Mark?
The Rust Belt.
Mark Willoughby. Mark's Willoughby. Mark's an Akronite or somewhere up there.
It's the rust capital of the world, actually.
And for good reason.
Yeah.
And how did you make your way here, and how did you end up in Asheville?
Well, it started with a long bike trip, the length of the Blue Ridge Parkway with my friend Art, and we discovered this little college that we thought, hey, we could go here. It's a quirky place, but we're quirky. So we checked it out, and on our way out of town, we stopped by the admissions office and said, we should get the paperwork done. So we wound up going to college at Warren Wilson, and then there was this cute little music place in Black Mountain that was just right for me, and a lot of wonderful, fortuitous coincidences kept me here.
And now you're there, and your wife, and your son, and how your son is Nate. I know from some of the songs that you sing. How old is he now?
He's 17.
17, and
he's wonderful and kind, even to his parents.
So that's a good thing.
It is miraculous.
That's a good thing. So Asheville's the home base. What you've got something? You ready to play a first something for us?
I'd love to.
I've heard some pieces of this. Now, is this your most recent CD that this tune is off of?
Yeah, Open Hand is about this time last year, yeah.
And this is, do you want to tell us anything about this tune, or do you want to just jump in and play it?
Well, the fun part about this song is I was traveling with my manager, Tom, and he was looking at the Google News, and he opened up his computer, and he had this big sigh, and I said, what? And he said, what happened to my modern world? And I said, that's a song. He said, well, feel free. In the future that they used to imagine, the one they pictured in those old magazines, their Tomorrowland is so old-fashioned, the delusion of the modern dream. But they had the skyway to the city towers, and we're still rocking over stones and tar. I've been crawling down the freeway for hours. I want my fusion-powered flying car. This ain't the modern world that I remember, the one that promised all us boys and girls. This ain't the vision that the artist rendered. What happened to my modern world? What happened to my modern world? They said my leisure time was gonna be bitchin'. I'd have my holographic TV phone, and we'd be cooking in our one-button kitchen in our aluminum Dymaxion home, with the enlightened ones leading the nations, bringing peace around the world at last. A utopia of cooperation, where injustice is a thing of the past. This ain't the modern world that I remember, the one that promised all us boys and girls. This ain't the vision that the artist rendered. What happened to my modern world? What happened to my modern world? Well, just a bunch of big baby boomers trying to snatch the last cookie and run. It's such a comfort to the guilty consumer if Armageddon had already begun. 'Cause if their world's a box of chocolate cherries, then they'll just use it up and toss it away. They make it post-apocalyptic and scary for us to dream about the future today. This ain't the modern world that I remember, the one that promised all us boys and girls. This ain't the vision that the artist rendered. What happened to my modern world? What happened to my modern world? What happened to my modern world? What happened to my modern world?
That's right out of our heads, Mark, isn't it?
Where Charlotte comes to talk.
As David Wilcox, see, I feel like I've been ripped off because that jetpack, you know, I'm watching that baseball game in about 1968 and they show me a guy with a jetpack. Where is it?